Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dumpster Fire podcast. My name is Olivia Clare, and I'm joined today by my producer. Would you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Derek, and yeah.
So, again, we told you guys there were going to be tons of changes, and we are making those. They're more noticeable now. And so, we hope you guys are enjoying that and enjoying the content. Please, before we get into content today, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And of course, go to our Patreon to get exclusive content that you won't find anywhere else. There's some really great outtakes from last week's episode that we're going to upload on there. Um, they're great. You guys will enjoy them, I promise. So, we're going to get right into our first story today, which is that the Supreme Court found that affirmative action is unconstitutional in a landmark ruling. That was released today on the 29th, about 6 hours probably before we recorded this. And the reaction has been incredible. I mean, absolutely incredible. Chief Justice John Roberts wrote the opinion for the majority, and he was writing that the colleges cannot take into consideration race when they're looking through college applications. Affirmative action has actually been you know, in law for quite some time now.
Um,
Early 2000s,
no, this is back in like the 60s or 70s when the first affirmative
the
action.
civil rights.
Yeah, it's like during like the Lyndon B era, I believe, is when.
Why do I think it was later?
No,
They didn't
no,
call it
they.
that later.
No, I'm pretty sure it was back in like the Lyndon B. I believe the first. Yeah, I mean they've probably updated it over time and stuff, but I believe the first
Yeah,
iterations of it
yeah,
started in the during the civil rights era.
yeah, during LBJ. Yeah, that makes sense. So, the court decided this in response to two different appeals, one in a case with the University of North Carolina, in which they overturned that by 6-3, and then one with Harvard, in which the vote was 6-2, and that's because Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson did not vote in the Harvard case for whatever reason. I didn't get clarification as to why. But Chief Justice Roberts wrote for the majority that both UNC's and Harvard's affirmative action programs lack sufficiently focused and measurable objectives warranting the use of race. And he wrote that they concluded wrongly that the touchstone of an individual's identity is not challenges vested skills built or lessons learned by the color of their skin. So they agreed that this would help to combat racism. The majority opinion did. In his concurring opinion, Justice Clarence Thomas wrote basically saying the same things that John Roberts did, but he actually name drops Ketanji Brown Jackson and like mentions her. And then she does the same thing in her dissent, which her dissent, if you guys haven't seen it, you should go read it. It's quite terrible. They basically say that like having affirmative action is the touchstone of diversity on campus. And I there's been a lot of backlash from a lot of key figures today in the political realm, which, if we remember, the Supreme Court is not supposed to be inherently political, right? Like, the whole point of the Supreme Court was to not be political. But, well, it's 2023, so everything's political. So, if we can pull up this response from President Biden, um, he says, for decades, the Supreme Court recognized a college's freedom to decide how to build a diverse student body and provide opportunity. Today, the court walked away from precedent, effectively ending affirmative action in higher education. I strongly disagree with this decision. Um, I I have a lot to say. I want to get through what everyone's responses have been before I get into my response because I think these responses are kind of needed to then when I go into my response, like understand where I'm coming from here. So that was Biden's initial response. Then we go to the Secretary of Education, Miguel Cardona, who responded in a tweet in which he says to all aspiring students, especially Black, Latino, Asian American, Alaska Native, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, and all other students from underserved communities, we see you and we need you. Do not let this ruling deter you from pursuing your educational potential. Our colleges and our country itself cannot thrive and compete in the 21st century without your talent, ingenuity, perseverance, and ambition. Um, Sure. Okay. Sounds great. Love that. And of course, my favorite female politician of all time, our Vice President Kamala Harris, has responded in a lengthy statement. in which she talks about it being a step backward for our nation. She also says that campuses are benefited when we have diversity in the classroom. She goes on to say that the next generation of leaders are in the classroom, and this will be a decision that will impact our country for decades to come, and that we must work with ever more urgency to make sure that all of our young people have the opportunity to thrive. So that's, three major key players in this have responded so far. And the Department of Education, along with the White House, have now come out with an action plan to combat this decision, apparently. CNN was reporting on this, and they say that I'll read it for you guys because their article keeps getting updated. So I'll read you exactly what they're saying they're going to do. So they say they're going to provide colleges and universities with clarity on what practices and programs are still lawful. So the Department of Education and Department of Justice will find those resources and provide them within the next 45 days. The Department of Education will host a national summit on equal opportunity. That sounds like so much fun. We should attend that. It will feature leaders from a variety of relevant groups to help develop additional resources for colleges and students to expand educational opportunity. Next bullet point here says releasing a report on strategies for increasing diversity and educational opportunity. After said summit, the Department of Education will produce a report by September. So they don't say when it's going to take place, but presumably before September. So by the beginning of the school year, you will have a report highlighting promising admissions practices to build inclusive, diverse student bodies, which will include ways to take an applicant's adversity into account. I don't think adversity is defined by skin color, but like maybe I'm just a bigot. And then it says increasing transparency in college admissions and enrollment practices. They'll consider and publish more information on trends, including relevant findings on race and ethnicity. And then the last thing they say is they're going to help states analyze data to increase access for underserved communities. The Department of Education will help state and tribal leaders use data to improve their practices to help develop strategies to increase access to educational opportunity. So all of that being said, we can now go into kind of our thoughts and feelings about this. Wow. I'm currently taking a class, and this week's topic was actually affirmative action. So that's just very ironic that this happened the same week. But it's I mean, what are they trying to say here by saying that students need affirmative action to succeed? Students of different racial and ethnic backgrounds, why do they need affirmative action to succeed? What's wrong with a merit-based program? Are you saying that they don't have the right merits? Are you saying there's something inherently like wrong with with the way they get their education? Because I went to school with students of all different backgrounds, and I mean, when they talk about adversity, I think I faced a fair bit of adversity my senior year of high school, and that, I mean, I might be white, but it didn't stop the fact that I had adversity I had to face that then created, a foundation going into college. But I don't know. What are they trying to say? Are they saying that anyone from any other racial or ethnic background that's not like Caucasian or white is going to struggle? And why are they saying that? Are they saying they're not capable? Um,
I would have to say if if you're gonna go on a merit-based system, then why? I know I understand why like on some forms that we have to put the ethnicity down, but like on a college application form, is that really necessary? Cannot the merit of
no,
the student on how they test, or how they perform in the school be enough to base on how they get into schools? I know there
or like
was,
an essay,
yeah,
like write an
I
essay about your life.
because I know with a lot of these affirmative action laws that they've had in place for the past 50, 60 years now, they have to have a certain percent of their school population be of a certain race. And I understand where it's coming from in terms of the past because they needed laws like that because schools were outright refusing students based on their race. But now you've almost hit to the flip opposite where now they're pushing out students that probably are more qualified to be in these schools and more qualified
Hmm.
to be in these programs because they have to pad out their numbers to make sure they're within the legal rights of affirmative action.
Yeah, and they're taking opportunities away from students who might actually be deserving of it, but they're white, and so they don't get it. And that's ridiculous to me. Regardless of the race, I think if you can write a good essay, have a good application, then you should be able to get into a college. I don't think that you need to have a racial barrier. At the end of the day, affirmative action is racist. Like why is that so hard for people to comprehend? Like it's kind of like voter ID laws where they're saying that like, oh, well, now certain communities of color aren't going to be able to get, a vote. Are you saying they're too dumb to go down to the DMV or the Secretary of State or whatever and get an ID? Are you saying they're that stupid? They don't know how to do that? Are you saying they don't have the documentation to do that? Are you implying that these college students or these high schoolers going into college are too stupid to be able to get into college if it's not based on their race, if it's based on their merit? Are you implying that there's something wrong with these students because of their race? Are you really going to imply, sitting on the Supreme Court, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, that students of color can't get to that? Because you're on the federal bench right now with Clarence Thomas. And I know you guys don't agree politically or anything like that, but I mean, the worst part is that the reason you're there, whether it's your merits or not, and your merits might deserve you to be on the bench, but shouldn't that be the reason you're on the bench? Not because the president said, I'm going to appoint a woman of color. Shouldn't our vice president be based on the merit and not by their skin tone? When did we become the anti-racist party when everyone accuses us of being racist? When did we become the people that are trying to put sense into these are racist? When did Republicans become the party that has to preach your merit is better than your skin color? I mean, of course we always thought that, but like the fact we have to say it out loud, yet we're being accused of being racist? It's
I'm
mind-boggling to me. Every person I went to college with was deserving of their place. Well, I'm sorry. 90% of the people I went to college with were deserving, and the other 10%, believe it or not, I'm referring to white people that I went to college with that may have not been as deserving. Okay, so I'm not talking about any students like that. We had so many international students. We had so many international students that came. I have friends from all over the world that came to our college, and students of color, different cultures. It was awesome. I liked it. I enjoyed it, but they didn't get in there because of their skin color. They got in there because, they're connected to this program. They can come as an international student and do very well. Awesome. Love that. I don't like that when you have affirmative action, you're setting a benchmark to elevate students who may not be as deserving based on their skin. Is that not racist? Like, am I like in an alternate reality? Because I feel like I am. I feel like I'm in an alternate reality where somehow the people that preach that they're not racist are the most racist, and then the people that aren't racist are being accused of being racist. That doesn't make any sense. I'm so sorry. I am so confused as to how this is possible. Derek, how is this possible? How
I'm,
is this
I'm
how
gonna
is
go
this
back. I'm gonna
possible?
go back on a couple of points you've made. The first point I'm gonna say is when you're questioning how is the Republican Party, the party that are saying this, but I mean, if you're looking at it from a historical standpoint,
We've never
um,
been racist. I know.
yeah,
I
no,
know.
it was the deep Democrat South that was the ones that were fighting for slavery,
Yep.
and then, Jim Crow was
What about the
all.
party shift, Derek? What about the party shift? The
Yeah,
party shift is real, Derek.
when? Because
It's real.
yeah,
It's real,
they
Derek. It's
changed,
real.
but they changed the dates every time because they say it was in the 20s, but they were the
It was
ones
real.
that
It was
pushed.
real, Derek.
They
You were
pushed
Oregon. It
Jim
was real.
Crow. They pushed Jim Crow right after 1877 after Reformation, or was it Reformation? Whatever it was, I can't remember. Reconstruction. Right after
Reconstruction.
Reconstruction, yeah.
There you go.
Jim Crow laws. Democrat pushed. And then civil rights, the civil rights movement. If you look at the historical voter, like how they voted when they were voting in Congress, if you look at the
Yup.
party
No.
lines, if you
Yup.
look where the party was voting, the Republicans were the ones that were voting for, to repeal the Jim Crow era, and you had a lot of Democrats, the old Deep South Democrats, that were
But
voting.
Derek, a Democrat signed the Civil Rights Act.
Yes, because a Democrat was in office, so
But
therefore,
Derek, that's because they're not the racist ones. The Republican. You should
yeah,
know this, unless you're just a bigot.
I must be a bigot. Also, the second
Must be
point,
a bigot.
I got one more point I gotta make. When you said Kamala Harris is getting in there by her merits, I think we know what merits she got in by.
Okay, yeah, Kamala Harris had a few different merits that she used, a few different benchmarks of talent, if you will.
She was very talented in her political career. Ask any of her male constituents.
Yeah, any of her male coworkers, she was very talented.
Yeah.
Along with Gretchen Whitmer, my lovely governor here in Michigan. You didn't call her stretching Gretchen in college for nothing. Is all I'm gonna say on that. But there, it was her. She went to Michigan State, and it's like a whole thing. It's like everyone there knows about it. But yeah, yeah, what I was trying to say there was like, when did we become the ones that have to publicly preach this? When did we become the party that, like, they always claim we're the party of acceptance and love and all these things, and we're like, okay, so end affirmative action. They're like, you're a racist, you're a bigot, and you're like, whoa, like, we just don't want you to be considered based on your race. We just think everyone should have equal opportunity. And they're like, no, we have to have summits on equal opportunity for diversity now. What the hell is that? What the hell is that? Like, excuse me? Make it make sense. 4 plus 4 is 8. 2 plus 2 is 4. It's not 5. It's not 9. Math is not racist. Affirmative action is. I'm losing it, man. I'm losing it every day a little bit more. My sanity is just. And yeah, so that's. Gosh. It just doesn't make any sense. I am so stressed out about it.
Olivia,
Because
I'm gonna say this. Now you understand. Like you come just from a logical standpoint now. You're looking at like
I'm
how to
trying.
fix the problems logically. Now you
Is this
understand
how
what.
it is to be a man dealing with
Yes, that's what
women? Is
I
that
was
what you're
getting
trying to
into. It's
say?
like now you
Yeah,
know what
yeah.
it's like to be a man. Like we're trying to come at
I
this
always
from a
say when not to be a
logical.
man because,
Yeah.
I am a man. But no, it's so hard when you're looking at this logically. Listen, a hungry woman is a hungry woman, and so I'm sorry that sometimes we don't think logically. Y'all aren't the most logical either sometimes. Okay, I'm sorry, but it's just true. Sometimes you guys don't think with this head, and that's all I'm gonna say. So wow, this has turned into a weird commentary.
A dumpster
All I
fire, you
can
could say.
it's a dumpster fire. Yes, indeed. But yeah, nothing makes sense anymore, Derek. That's all I can say about this topic. It is at the end of the day, nothing else makes sense because the response. I am so happy the Supreme Court has, like basically ended affirmative action. That's what we needed in this country. I don't understand how our president can be so brain. Oh, well, I'm sorry. Let me rescind that and re-say that. I don't get why multiple people in government positions are so brain dead that they can do this. I understand our president a little bit, but sorry, my cat decided to lay down right next to me right when we started recording, and she's like licking herself, and it's really distracting for me. So I apologize. But that's what homies with chromies do. So I'm okay. Oh, jeez. Okay, sorry. Okay. So I think the question that needs to be asked when we're looking at this is why are they what are they trying to say? And I think that's what we need to ask is what are you trying to say? Are you saying that race needs to be considered for any reason other than merit? Isn't merit what shouldn't we be in a meritocracy? Why are we considering race? Why is diversity so important? Shouldn't diversity of ideas be important as well? And are you saying that other races cannot get into college based on merit? That's my question for everyone that is against this Supreme Court decision today. Colleen Ballinger has officially responded to the controversy that we have covered here before, where she, if you don't remember, she was talking to underage fans in kind of a weird, kind of groomer-ish manner. Well, Colleen responded yesterday with a 10-minute long video, and I watched it so you don't have to, okay? It's called Hi, and it's her playing the ukulele, which I'm sorry, but if you're going to be a child groomer, what instrument are you going to play? Probably the ukulele, right? Like it just kind of makes sense to
Hey,
me. Like that's the instrument you would play.
hey, don't this everyone has played a ukulele. I mean,
Not dissing everybody. I'm just
yeah,
saying, in light of the child grooming allegations, it probably wasn't the best choice to pull out a
no.
ukulele. And so don't, if you want to give yourself early stages of cancer, go ahead and watch this video. If you don't, then go ahead and just trust me, don't watch it. It's awful. She pulls it out, she starts going like, hi, blah, 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 and like, so what she says is like, you haven't seen me here in a while. Also, I'm sorry, I'm gonna say this before I go into the like my notes on the thing. I am sorry, I have to, because the first thing that everyone notices, she looks like she has a filter on her face and nowhere else on her body. So whatever makeup she's using, I mean, great foundation, but like, girl, that is not. It's so glaringly obvious. It looks like someone literally just took like her face, put like an airbrush filter on it, and that was it. So I have to mention that because it really drives me crazy this entire
Yeah,
video. But
I in the screen poll I got up right now, it is not doing any justice. It looks like a piece of
she looks like
plastic or
decrepit on
something.
her
It's
body.
like it's so weird. It looks like fake. It looks so fake. It looks like a wax.
It's
You remember the
so
wax
weird. It,
museum? The wax museums.
yeah,
Her face looks like
yeah.
a wax museum face, and then it's just everywhere else is like a normal action human that likes kids.
It's so bizarre. So that wasn't the best choice either. If we're gonna talk about, what you look like in a video, that's also not great. Considering this is your response. So she starts saying, some people have said things that aren't quite true. Then sings this painful chorus that she goes through multiple times, saying the toxic gossip train. Something about misinformation, miscommunication, manipulation. Points for rhyming, girl, I guess. But she said it doesn't matter if it's true as long as it's entertaining. And the cringiest part for me. This is where I think I got. I don't know what disease I got, but I got something from this because it was so bad. She said, "My team advised me not to say anything, but they never said I couldn't sing it." Babe, this isn't a musical. We don't live in High School Musical. We don't live in that is so cringy. It's like the kid that goes, "Well, I guess I'm gonna sing it," and then they do the stupidest shit ever you've seen on stage,
I
and you like
I I,
cringe and you want to die.
I think when they said don't say anything, I mean I think they meant say just stay quiet, not. Well, I think I can get around the rules of not saying anything if I just.
Well, I think I'm gonna have some rules and I'm gonna sing it.
I'll
Like
just sing
you
it.
you
No one's
sound
gonna.
like an idiot. You sound so dumb. Life isn't a musical. Life isn't a movie, Colleen. It's not about you. It's about your victim. Speaking of victims, you play a really good one. You should really consider an acting career because then you go on to say that you didn't speak to your fans in a creepy way. You said, I was a loser. I would talk to my fans to engage with them, but not in a creepy way. You sent lingerie to an underage male. Remember that allegation? Remember the proof? His mother still has them because they may need them in the future to take action. They still have them, Colleen. Okay, there's still videos of you saying you're gonna send it to a fan. It's a little weird. You talk about how they have dramatized lies and done all these things. You go on to say this is such a victim kind of like gaslighty kind of thing. Is where she says, um, talking about the people criticizing her. I didn't realize that you were perfect when you're criticizing me. No one's claiming that they're perfect, but they are claiming they're not child groomers like you. Like there's a difference between claiming you're perfect so you have room to criticize and then saying, well, I'm not a child groomer, so I'm going to criticize a child groomer. Two very different things. Very different. She's, you're going to stab me in my back, blah, blah, blah. I mean, then she says Miranda Sings, her character, was always PG-13, yet there's videos of her with noticeably young children, maybe 8 to 10 years old, reaching in her pants for the cheese ball thing and like in weird positions on stage. But if it's PG-13, yes, parents can choose to take their kids to these shows, but you choose to bring those children on stage. That is your choice, Colleen. You chose to bring kids who are not 13 on stage.
Wait,
So, I thought,
wait. Sorry, they put cheese balls and I don't. I've never really watched her as Miranda
I'll give you
sings.
the rundown because your
So
girl loves some drama, so I've watched everything. But I will say too, I want to give Adam McIntyre, who's the kind of main character in this one of the people who was groomed. Adam McIntyre. He's an Irish boy. He's 20 now, and he goes through and he made a really funny response to this video where he plays the shittiest way of playing the ukulele, like so off key, in response to her video, and it's beautiful. It's like 20 minutes long. If you guys want some good, just like he does it so comically, and the way he does it is so great. And if anyone has a clearance to respond in that exact petty way, it's him. And considering the way that this response was, that's exactly what needed to be happened. And I thought it was really funny. He talks about like I did this for 3 years, and so there's a lot that goes into it. But basically, the cheese ball thing is a bit in her live shows where she pretends to be on a date. Miranda sings, pretends to be on a date, right? And she says she has a snack in her pants, which is like a long running joke on her. Yeah, I know, on her thing. She puts cheese balls in her pants, like her high waisted pants. She goes, "Do you want one?" And she like opens her pants. I don't know how to explain that. Like pulls the waist out, right? And lets the child reach in and grab a cheese ball from her pants.
Who was watching Miranda Sings and
I mean, her whole character is meant to be kind of a parody of like a funny, stupid kind of like just airhead idiot. And at the time it was like what was in, right? It was like that stupid humor was
yeah.
funny, but I don't know how we got from that to cheese balls in your pants, whatever. It became a whole bit. And so that's what I'm talking about when I say like, oh, she's like, oh, well, don't we want parents to choose what their kids can watch? Yes, Miranda, Colleen, whatever, we do. But we don't want them reaching in your pants, and a parent did not consent to that. Okay, you brought them on the stage, had a kid reach in your fucking pants, and I don't care if cheese balls or not, that's fucking weird. That's weird. And to have a kid eat it at yeah. Okay, so then she goes on to say, have I made a mistake? Yes. Do I have regret? Yes. I'm sorry, has anyone ever spoken like that if they're not trying to get out of a situation where they're like, did I do something dumb? Yeah. Did I regret it? Yeah. Like, I do that jokingly when I'm like, did I just say that? Yeah, I did. Like, if I say something kind of off, like I did earlier when I was like, oh, did I just say that? Yeah, I kind of said that. But you only do that to look like a victim. You ask yourself leading questions, you can only respond in the affirmative to make yourself look like you're acknowledging what's going on. I don't use the term gaslighting as frequently as maybe other people might. Like I feel like that's a very like it's a buzzword now. But in this situation, she's kind of trying to act like nothing happened, and she goes on and says, "I'm not a groomer, just a loser." I have news for you, Colleen. You can be both a groomer and a loser,
I think there
and you
usually
are.
are. I think usually if you are a groomer, you are a
You're
loser.
a loser.
I
Yeah.
think
And so
no matter what, I don't think. I mean, if you are a groomer, you're always a loser. I mean,
yeah, you
usually
are
if you're
both.
lose, yeah,
Like
losers
Colleen,
can be not groomers, but if you're a groomer, you're already at the bottom of the.
yeah, and you know, and a lot of people are probably watching this and like, why are you guys responding to this? It goes beyond YouTuber drama when you're grooming children, and so I feel like it's important to cover like who your kids are following. You should really be active in knowing who your children. In the future, I want my children to not have a world where they idolize somebody. They all of a sudden like she was in group chats with young fans. Weird behavior. I would want to know if my kid's in a group chat with some like 30-year-old woman. That's weird. And I think Adam at the time, when he gives his side of the story, and some of the other people in this group chat were 13, 12 to 13 when it started. So it's been going on for years. Weird behavior. I mean, I won't even engage in a conversation with someone underage if a parent's not around 95% of the time. The only time that wouldn't be relevant is if a kid is in danger and there's not a parent around, right? Like that's the only instance in which speaking to a child when a parent is they're lost, a parent's not around is okay. As long as your intentions are good. But she said she had never had bad intentions, but she goes to stop the video and then was like, and goes to say more. And I'm like, girl, just shut up. And then in this bit, she goes, sometimes people make a mistake. I don't think like 3 to 6 years of behavior is a mistake, a one-time mistake. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because sometimes I don't know everything. I'll be the first to admit that, but I'm pretty sure that if it's 6 years of repeated behavior and you being weird with people, it's not a one-time mistake. Yes, people make mistakes. That's what you say when I'm trying to think of like a kind of white lie. Um, sometimes people make mistakes, is what you say when you tell your friend that you're not hanging out with someone else, but you are. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something that you would be like, people make mistakes. Like I just said, because I didn't know how to say something. People make mistakes. Yes. I understand I am not perfect, despite what people know. I'm not perfect. God knows I'm not perfect. And I've made mistakes, but I haven't made prolonged mistakes that have lasted years. I haven't groomed children. Okay? Um, you there's so much evidence. And you're like, I made a mistake. I was close with my young fans, and you're playing the freaking ukulele this entire time. And you're like, I was close to young fans, and I made a mistake. I shouldn't have, confided in them. No, you shouldn't have. But why did you need to, why did someone need to tell you that at like 29, 30 plus? Now you're like 36, 37, I believe. Why did someone need to tell you that at 30? That you don't talk to minors like that, and you don't create close friendships with minors unless it's like a family friend and you're like an aunt or an uncle to them. I
I think the funniest thing about this story is I have the YouTube dislike button add-on on my Google Chrome.
Oh yeah, what's that now?
So the ratio is pretty bad. Here
Yeah,
I'll switch back to the display cam, and you can see down here at the bottom, 52,000 likes to almost 400,000 dislikes for a
that's
video
so crazy. How
with
many do we
3
have
point yeah 3.1 million views and over almost 400,000, probably going to be at a half a million dislikes probably by the end of the day today. I mean, these numbers are only going up, and she's
Yeah, I saw this video when it first came out. So when I saw those numbers, the dislike and likes, it was like it was under 100,000 for each, right? Like it was at 600K views when I saw this video. So, or no, that was when I rewatched it. When I first watched it, I think it was only at like 100,000. Like I was one of the first waves of people to see it, because I immediately got a notification and was like, shit, because someone was like, yo, like, did you see that? I was like, no, and so I went and found it, and yeah, so Colleen Ballinger has responded, and I mean, YouTube apologies have never been great. Like the history of YouTube apologies have always been a bit, right? Like a bit,
I love
YouTube
watching them.
apologies are
They're so terrible, but they're just
so cringy. This is the worst. Congratulations, Shane Dawson. You are no longer the worst YouTube apology video ever seen. Someone else has taken that cake for you, and you're welcome, because that's a shitty title to have. But you don't have it anymore because Colleen Ballinger has now taken it from you. And that's not to say someone else won't come and take that title soon, but it's going to be really hard to beat this one
I
because
mean,
it's not even really an apology, but
it's
she thinks
that's
it
what I was
is.
gonna say. It doesn't even seem like it's an apology video. I mean, like it's so self-absorbing, and it's just
It's
like
dumb. I'm going to make
trying to.
music for
It's
Colleen.
pushing all.
Apology.
She's basically taking all the points that people had against her. She's like, it was just a mistake. I mean, it's not that bad. I was just doing a bit. I mean, she's just
Why are
pushing.
we downplaying child grooming? Why? Why are we as a society trying to make that the move?
I mean, there's a place for, people like that, and they usually spend about 10 to 15 years there.
Oh,
Probably should
okay,
be
well, that true.
more. Probably should be more, but I mean, there's a good place where she can end up if, you
So,
know.
and once she's there, she might get out and enjoy some more time here on Earth, but the second she's gone, she'll be spending eternity somewhere much worse than that. And I am okay with that. California has a bill that is getting pushed to their Senate after being passed by the Assembly that would essentially allow 12-year-olds to leave the home with little to no proof and go to an outpatient facility. And all they have to do is meet with somebody. So we're going to hop right into that. AB 665 in California was again passed by the Assembly, which means it'll now go to the Senate and then go to Newsom for his signature or veto. And the existing law states that 12-year-olds can go into outpatient or residential mental health programs with the guidance of their parents up until they're 18, but they can make that decision to go and do that. But that will amend that existing law to say that 12-year-olds will now not have to provide evidence of abuse at the home to be removed from the home without parental consent. So they don't have to say, look, I'm being abused at home and I need to move. And that's why my parents can't know. No. The next step will be that professionals, and you'll see why I say that in a second, will meet with the minors before deciding if parental involvement is inappropriate or appropriate. They'll decide for you, for your child. Put this over here. Okay. Sorry, I have to cut that, but what can you do? Then it adds to what a professional is. So at first it was just psychiatrists, psychologists, like very trained, like PhD level people, right? No, 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 no. Now it can be social working interns and trainees that are being trained for psychology. So a trainee and intern can decide what happens to your children in California if this passes. An intern,
So
an
someone
intern,
that's not even like, maybe
an
they're just,
intern.
yeah, like they could be like I don't know how long it takes to be an intern, but like, second or third year college, and they're like, you know what,
If that,
I'm a 21-year old.
if that,
I probably can't even drink, but I can decide. That kid don't belong to your parent. You don't belong
they
to
can
those
decide
parents.
what happens to your 12-year-old if your 12-year-old wants to leave the home. And Newsom has already stated that if this passes the Senate, he's going to sign it into law. So we already know that this will probably pass the California Senate because it's California, and then it would go into effect on July 1st of 2024. So in a year from now. Um, they they say they're not coming for your children, but they're quite literally coming for your children. They're allowing your children at 12. Oh, by the way, there's like laws in California where like you can't make certain decisions up through like 25. I forget which ones they are, but it's like up through like 25 or 26 because you don't have your prefrontal cortex fully developed until then. And so you can't make a decision, but you can leave the home and go to some residential facility with a bunch of other kids, and you might get harassed, you might deal with some really traumatizing stuff there. No problem. You're 12, make your own decisions. You got it. You got it, kiddo.
I, f-
Really? Really?
I feel like putting a kid in a home is not. Those homes aren't not the greatest places for kids either. I mean, it's like it's like an orphanage, and orphanages have their own list of
It's like a
problems.
halfway house for
Yeah,
kids. It's very weird. Like, most people don't want to be in those facilities, regardless of their age. So you're really willing to allow 12, 13. I mean, have you been a 12 to like 15-year-old girl? Have you? Because if they're just mad at their parents for one little thing, they might opt for this. And then the parents might get that child taken away for whatever period of time, if not forever, because they had a moody teenager. I understand their situation. Okay, let me clarify that I understand there's situations in which there's abuse in the household needing to be removed. I'm not discounting that. But the fact they don't have to provide documentation of abuse is a problem. They should be able to document and say, look, hey, this is happening at home. You're telling me a 12-year-old doesn't have a phone that they can record shit on? They don't have something where they can get proof of this? They can get proof. I'm sorry. It's the same thing as saying like certain people can't do certain things because of their skin color. You're telling me that a 12-year-old isn't smart enough to get that stuff, so you're just going to ignore it? And now some intern can be like, yeah, you know what? You cried. Good chance that you're probably depressed. So we're going to put you in this residential facility so you don't have to be at home anymore. What? What? I'm so baffled. They're literally coming for your kids, and people just like goes back to the grooming conversation. Like, they are grooming your children when they are out of the home and in a state-run facility.
remember they're not your kids, they're our kids. I think that's what Biden
Oh, I'm
said.
sorry. You're right. Yeah. Parental rights mean nothing in this country anymore. If you're in California and you have the means, I understand not everybody has the means. I'm not gonna pull a Tim Pool. I love Tim Pool, but I'm not gonna pull a Tim Pool and just tell you to just get out of there. Because I understand that there's situations in which you can't do that, but try your best not to raise a family there. If you're young enough to get out before that, you should. I can't imagine, this is not, I mean, I live in a pretty blue state, right now, and I can't imagine having a family here without this law being in place here. I don't think I'll end up staying here because of laws that are being put in place by my state, but
How are you supposed to discipline your child? How are you supposed to do anything with your child? I mean, I get, disciplining. There's a difference between like physical abuse discipline and actual like, now if you discipline your kid in a way like, well, I've taken your iPad away for a week because you got an F on a grade and now you don't get your iPad. They can,
fuck out or something stupid. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So now I mean, since you don't have to report abuse, you can just say, well, this affects my mental health because I don't have my
Or lie about
iPad.
it.
Yeah.
You can lie about abuse.
Yeah.
That's even worse. Like, you don't need proof, so you can just be like, I was abused. Well, how? Well, I was. Okay. Well, we'll take you out of the home then. I'm sorry, what? No, 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 no. Get proof. Send a social worker to that house immediately. meet with the parents, meet with siblings separately, obviously, so that, you know, if there is an abusive situation, you don't want the parents like in the same room as the other, if there's other kids involved. And there's homes where kids need to be removed from 100,000%. I am not going to dispute that. There are tragic situations, but when you are going to exploit those situations by basically saying you don't even need a reason, that's so discrediting to real situations in which these things are happening. Oh, they didn't validate my trans identity. Just shut the hell up. Are you kidding me? You're 12. You're 12. When I was 12, I thought I was going to be a veterinarian. Hell no, I'm not going to be a veterinarian. I don't like blood. I don't like hurting animals. I don't like animals in pain. I could never do that. What was I thinking? I don't know what I was thinking. I wanted to help animals. I guess that's what I was thinking. But like, that's when I was 12. That's what I thought. So like, what if I just like walked up and was like, I'm a veterinarian, and like
I wanted to be an
decided
actor
at
when I
12.
was 12, so I mean that didn't work out at all.
Oh boy, that's
Yeah,
not gonna work out.
no, it was not gonna work out. But I was in like the little elementary school
But you wanted to
plays.
be a singer.
Oh, I'm a beautiful singer, and Olivia won't let me sing because if she did, I couldn't be a host anymore because I'd be signed on to every label.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's the reason. It's not because
yeah,
people would sue me for their eardrums breaking. But yeah, so yeah, there's the. I know I keep making weird noises because I just can't even get my words straight because I'm just so baffled by this. Like, I literally just feel bamboozled by everything happening in the world right now. Bamboozled, Derek.
bamboozled.
Bamboozled. I don't like feeling bamboozled by everything. I feel bamboozled,
It's
and it makes me
it's I'm a little dumbfounded too by these laws. I mean, I know, of course if their kids are in a bad situation, you want them to get out, and that's why we have
yeah.
CPS. I mean, and CPS already
Ugh.
has a lot of power as is. So I mean, you're just giving. It's like giving any government agency more power, like the ATF, or giving them all the power. Like I can't remember what his name was that just went and spoke against the ATF. There's a video of it. Um, I
I
just
don't
watched the
remember.
video, but just the ATF started as just a part of the Treasury Department, and now it's in 20 years after it's founded, it was raiding Ruby Ridge and Waco. So I mean, you're giving CPS
Yeah.
powers. Pretty soon you're gonna have armed police CPS officers in full riot gear busting into your
Was it
house.
Gates? Sorry, I'm
Yes,
trying
I
to
think I
figure out who
think
spoke out against it. Matt Gates,
I think it might have been Matt Gates.
Marjorie Taylor Greene. They want to defund the ATF. That's what
Yeah,
happened.
yeah. I don't think no, they were there. They were hosting it, but I can't remember who they brought in that spoke up against
Mm,
it. But
I'll keep looking.
yeah, like it. But I lost my train of thought here for a second. No, but like I said, I mean, if we're gonna keep giving CPS all this power, I mean, like I said they're gonna have full riot gear breaking into your house to grab your kid out. That's
Shooting children, shooting dogs.
yeah, shoot. It's gonna be a police standoff. We're gonna get Waco 3.0, but with like someone trying to keep their kids from being taken by the state.
Yeah, and they're not going to be in a compound. It's just going to be a regular residential home, and they're going to be like, "We need to rate it." Like, get out of here. Like, no. So this law is just so dangerous, in so many ways, and it could really screw up a kid's life a lot. And this is why we need to just kick California. Bye. See you later. And we'll embrace Texas as the next biggest power. I'm down for that because I think that, they got similar weather, they got better people, better politics, you know, they got pretty fair diversity there. I'm voting California's gone and Texas is the next best thing. It's the new Hollywood where we don't have Hollywood in the sense we have it now. We like revert back to good Hollywood and we'll call it. Nope, not gonna go there because that's gonna sound stupid. We're gonna.
What were you thinking, Olivia? You gotta give.
I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't like I was going through. I was like, Bollywood's a thing. Dollywood's a thing. No, and
Texie
so
Wood.
that doesn't sound right.
I'm just spitballing here. We're trying to.
Never do that again. So yeah, let's just move Hollywood there. The star, and we'll take the good ones, like the ones that we agree with, and put them there in like downtown Austin or something, right? Or like Houston, San Antonio as a Riverwalk. I love Texas clearly, but like make Texas red California
At
without the
California.
libs. Okay. thank you so much for watching our show today, guys. We really appreciate it. We hope y'all are super excited about these new changes. We've worked really, really hard on them. And this is the one time I'll give Derek credit. He has done some really great work getting this all put together. And so I'm very appreciative of him. And it's not been an easy process. We spent hours on the phone trying to figure out what works, what doesn't, what colors, what background, whatever. And to all our friends who have been there to help us, thank you. You guys know who you are. All the cool kids that helped us, we really appreciate you guys. You guys are fantastic. We really appreciate you. And don't forget to subscribe to our Patreon. We were recording some behind the scenes content today, so that's fun. You'll always get a blooper reel from episodes. And yeah, it's fun over there. I would go because we're gonna start focusing on that now that we've really gotten our channel down. We're gonna start focusing more on that stuff now that we have the time to do it. So we'll do that for more commentary, articles, and all that kind of stuff. And uncensored things that we cannot discuss on YouTube. So that's going to be really fun. You guys should do that. You should follow Derek at Real Derek Benson on Twitter. You should follow me on social media at Olivia Claire, 3 A's in Olivia, 2 E's in Claire on Twitter and Instagram. And of course, you can go follow our podcast on Twitter to stay up to date with everything we're doing at TD Fire Podcast. Don't forget to catch clips this week from show that we did before. Don't forget to catch our hopefully Sunday live show, kind of tentative because I might be going to see family. But we're gonna try to go live. Hopefully there's more good news stories. I might be in a hotel room, who the hell knows? But so might not have my background, but that's all right.
Don't forget your little dumpster fire.
I will not. This will be there. I'll make sure that Ted is there. My man Theodore right here is there. So we are really thankful you guys are following us on this journey while we make a few changes. It means a lot to us. And we will see you guys hopefully Sunday. If not, we'll see you next Friday with a brand new video.
All right. See you guys.